Howdy. We will get started. So welcome to the budget hearings. Today we have United Way Sports and Events Corp., Carta, River City Company, Mowbray Fire Department, Flat Top Fire Department, Agriculture Extension Service, and the Houston Museum that will be presenting budgets today. As we get started, for those that are here, and I'll remind others when they come in, we've asked this year that during your presentations, we want you to put things in buckets. And those buckets are as follows. Bucket number one is if obviously you're here because you're asking for more funding. So the simple budget, simple bucket that we're going to ask you to do is in number one is what is that additional funds being invested in for you to get additional funding? And it's kind of a simple question because if you're asking for more funding and what you're investing in is what is the benefit to the taxpayer for us to give you more funding? What's the benefit to Hamilton County and or the employees of Hamilton County? What's the benefit of us giving you more funding? So that's one thing we'll ask you to kind of elaborate on. Second thing, the second bucket will be is what are you holding the line on within your budget? Those are the core things that you have to hang on to within your expenses. And then the third thing has been the toughest one, is what are you transitioning from? As things throughout the years have changed, technology improvements, with any organization, whether you're for-profit or non-for-profit, you always have to shift funding away from things that are no longer relevant or you've got efficiencies in place. And we'd like to know that. So what you're transitioning from to help your budget, and in some cases that you ask us or you're asking us for less of an impact because you're able to shift some funds from your organization. So those are key things. And I think those three questions, I think our taxpayers want us to ask and pretty much expect us to ask those types of questions. And I think if you're in the business realm, you pretty much face those day in and day out. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. United Way is first. So we'll get started.
Hi, good afternoon. Chairman Smith, Committee Chair Eversole, Mayor Womp, Commissioners, thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. I think I'm going to address all of your buckets appropriately. So I just want to say thank you for this opportunity and the continued funding from Hamilton County to make sure that we can really serve the people of Hamilton County really well at United Way. My name's Taryn Anderson. I'm the Vice President of Community and Corporate Engagement at United Way, and we operate the 211 service on behalf of Hamilton County residents. So I want to be clear about my purpose today. It's not a pitch for a new program. It's not really a surprise request or anything like that. This is really just a right sizing, restoring Hamilton County's investments in 211 to around the $200,000 level. So I want to tell you why that matters, both for residents and for county systems, why that's important. 211 is one of those services that often becomes most visible when something is wrong. You'll remember the tornadoes or during COVID, a benefit disruption like we saw with SNAP, a disaster, a housing crisis, any of those things start to show the real value of 211. But it's also about what it prevents every single day, what we may refer to as small emergencies. If you aren't familiar, 211 is a countywide, easy to remember front door for residents who need help navigating food access, housing stability, utility assistance, health care, and public benefits. There we go. So last year alone, we handled more than 41,000 calls and over 8,400 text conversations from Hamilton County residents. So Commissioner Eversole, to your question about technology, we aren't just reaching people on the phone, we're also doing it through new technologies as well. Behind every single one of those numbers are real people, someone trying to stay stable enough to keep working, keep their housing, and keep their family afloat. I want to give you 3 real examples that we've seen in the last year or so. A utility worker making good pay, but a single dad who was at risk of losing his job because of childcare gaps. We connected him to safe, reliable care so he could stay employed. A single mom working multiple jobs called during an illness that pushed her to the brink of eviction. We helped stabilize her situation before it became a housing crisis. Or even the student who was struggling with reading, they were connected to tutoring via 211, a small intervention that changed the school year and relieved pressure on his parents. These are not isolated stories. This is the daily reality for working Tennesseans. And I was just talking to our director of 211. We got over 300 of these calls just yesterday alone. 211 does not replace county infrastructure or other nonprofit partners. Instead, we help residents find that help faster and help providers coordinate more effectively. For Hamilton County, that means fewer residents bouncing between agencies. It means fewer calls landing in the wrong place and fewer situations escalating simply because someone didn't know where to turn. And we know many of you sometimes have reached out to us because you have residents who need help. The most important thing to understand is this today. Hamilton County residents are the primary users of 211. The majority of all 211 calls come from within Hamilton County, and those calls overwhelmingly reflect core county concerns: food insecurity, utility shutoffs, housing instability, and access to resources. When residents can't find help quickly, the need does not go away. It does not disappear. They come up other ways, often in ways that are more expensive and less appropriate. I know you've heard this from our friends who operate emergency rooms or 911, who are calling non-emergency or calling emergency lines with non-emergencies, shelters, courts, crisis response systems. Again, we view 211 as a preventative tool. It routes people earlier, reduces confusion, and keeps problems from escalating into higher cost county interventions. So for several years, you can see Hamilton County and the city invested at comparable levels in 211, around $170,000 to $200,000 each. Last year, the county reduced its contribution due to other significant demands, which we absolutely understand. We saw this as situational and not a long-term shift in how the county views 211 and values the work that they do every day. The request this year is not an increase. Honestly, it's a right sizing and a return to the level of previous investment that we feel like is the most appropriate, restoring balance. So the balance matters not symbolically, but practically. City and county residents rely on the same system. When one partner steps back, the strain doesn't disappear. It shifts to other funders or to the system itself. So each year we calculate a pro rata rate based on caller residency and the full cost of operating 211. You may recognize that the number that we're asking for is not the same as what we've said it costs us. We know that the county's proportional share is actually closer to $498,000, which is why you see that number in our application. But to be clear, we are not asking you for $498,000. That would be a significant jump. We are asking for $200,000, close to $200,000, to remain conservative, a partial investment far below what the actual usage looks like. So our footprint covers 10 counties, but Hamilton County overwhelmingly does drive our demand. Rather than trying to approach every single municipality and county, we're working with the 4 other major 211s in our area out of Nashville, Knoxville, and Memphis to pursue state level funding to complement what you're doing here in Hamilton County, so that we can support some of those lower volume areas. That approach is more efficient, asking for all 95 counties, but asking all 95 counties for their fair share probably isn't the most efficient way to do it. We are seeing early traction with the governor's office and state departments around funding 211. And our goal long-term is to have a balanced funding model like what you see in front of you: a third private donations, a third local government, and a third state and government, as well as earned income. So right now, if Hamilton County and the city are both back at that $170,000 to $200,000 range, our local 211 operation would be funded roughly 1/3 by local government and 2/3 by private donors. So we are doing the work to find other funding sources as well. And we're actively diversifying that private donor share so local government isn't carrying more than its fair portion either. So you may have also heard some of the other good news, which is that United Way of Greater Chattanooga, we're not just operating our Chattanooga base, but also operating Middle Tennessee and Nashville as well. None of your funds or investment or local donor funds or investment go to Nashville. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's purely contractual with Nashville. And it was deliberate to bring those resources back to Tennessee. We hired a separate and dedicated team. Nashville pays us underneath a contract, including a management fee. So we actually are bringing more dollars to Chattanooga. You see some of these beautiful faces in front of you. I also want to let you know that of the folks that we hired to answer those calls for Nashville, all but one live here in Hamilton County. So we've doubled the staff that we had and number of people that we hired right here in Hamilton County to do that work. This is the Nashville team is a separate but dedicated team doing a great job alongside our Hamilton County team. But I just wanted to be really clear about that Hamilton County dollars are not by any means subsidizing Nashville. That contract's allowing us to help offset overhead and strengthen our local 211 operation and invest in technology like you mentioned earlier. The last few years have shown how fragile a system like this can be, whether we think about SNAP most recently, housing pressures, disaster response. I was just speaking to the senior director of 211 earlier. We are seeing a huge uptick in numbers over the last couple of weeks. We know this every summer when it gets warm, but what we're contending with right now that's a little bit unique is that as gas prices are continuing to climb, as well as just general inflation, and then layer on top of that what we normally know to be true about utility bills, our calls are jumping up pretty dramatically. So we know when these systems falter, though, that residents don't call a policy office, they call 211 when they really need help. Maintaining a strong, stable 211 system means Hamilton County is prepared before the next disaster and not scrambling during it. Commissioners, restoring Hamilton County's 211 investment to around $200,000 is a measured, responsible decision. It restores balance with the city. It reflects actual resident use and supports a system that prevents more expensive problems down the line. We really value our partnership together. Thank you again for your long-term commitment to us. And we take our responsibility to the residents of Hamilton County really seriously. So, any questions?
Okay, I don't see any lights on for questions, so. Did a great job.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Sports and Events Corp.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Tim Morgan. I'm president of the Sports and Events Corporation. And you're probably asking yourself, what is a Sports and Events Corporation? It is our Hamilton County Sports Commission that will continue to go out and attract new sporting events to have that positive impact on our community, as well as support all of our wonderful base business, and then continue to make sure that we are maximizing the power that sports has on our local residents and visitors that come into our community. And the clicker was not working. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for the investment that you're making in this fiscal year. And I wanted to show you by the end of June 30th where we're applying that particular investment. And at the end of the day, please understand that this is a business. Sports tourism is a business. And it is our job, it is our responsibility to ensure that we're driving a return on that business, on that investment through overnight stays. We have to bring people in through these sporting events to have that positive economic impact. And then when these sporting events are here, how do we engage our local community to be impacted? Right now, of the total 980,000, 28% is dedicated to personnel, 12% is organizational operations and contracts, and 60% is going towards the sales process, the fulfillment process, and then managing events that were in the portfolio that we're hosting through the end of June 30th. And I do want to make it clear that on that personnel, We're not hiring marketing people. This is a community sales and activation unit. We're not a marketing organization. So I just wanted to say that. And we're not a marketing organization because we will be collaborating with, as we are now already, with Chattanooga Tourism Company. Fiscal year 27 budget objectives. At the end of the day, it is all about driving ROI, bringing money earned outside of Hamilton County and getting it spent inside of Hamilton County. That's what we call new revenue. We need to drive that new revenue, and we will be driving the economic return into the community this year by the end of June 30th. As we work together with Chattanooga Tourism Company, we will be hosting over 40 different events, supporting over 40 different events, and managing 5 different events. That number is projected to double in next fiscal year, and hence the increase in our budget request. When we bring these events in, we have an opportunity to increase access, engagement, and participation for the county residents. What does that truly mean? That means whether you're a participant, a spectator, or a volunteer, you can come be a part of all these wonderful projects that we're hosting and supporting. So our local residents don't necessarily have to travel out of town to be a part of the sport and the passion that they love. Maximizing the utilization of community assets and facilities. We are doing that right now, but there are opportunities to drive new projects, which we have already put in our pipeline for facilities like McDonald Farm, for facilities in different areas of our county that in essence are potentially being underutilized. So we're going to be putting a focus on maximizing the current assets that we have, but then we're also going to prioritize the deficiencies that we have in our sports community. At the end of the day, we are a wonderful, beautiful community, but we do have deficiencies where our local residents are going out of market to participate in a variety of different sporting events, whether it be lacrosse, whether it be swimming, aquatics, whether it be indoor sports. They're going out of market right now to train and to engage. And I think we have an opportunity to really prioritize our focus as a community and then position ourselves for incremental market gains by being able to host things that we currently do not have the capacity to host. So how are we applying at the end of fiscal year 2027, how are we applying these dollars? We're going to need more people. We're going to stay lean and mean as a community sports commission, but we're going to have to hire additional personnel. We're going to keep the organizational operations and contracts consistent. And then the event support, development, and management, more dollars will be applied to event investment. However, that percentage went down just because we're going to have to have more technical experts that can ultimately come in and be the leaders for sport in our community and work with all the different volunteer organizations and community organizations that it takes to build a team to execute said project and fulfill the obligations of the contracts that we're going to own. Y'all have already demonstrated that you believe in the power of sports. And so I want to thank you for the investments that y'all have already made. And we are extremely excited to continue to maximize the power that sports can have on our community. So thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you, Chair. Tim, remind us where you're at right now and what you're asking for.
So we are at 980,000 with this most recent investment, and we are asking for 2.25.
And of the 980, is that all county?
There's some private revenue in there, 91% county, 9% through the events that we manage. So when we manage events, we drive private revenue, whether that be registrations, ticket sales, or sponsorships, corporate sponsors.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Shipley?
Yeah, I was knee deep in chicken back there. I was listening.
Was it good?
It was good. Thinking about getting some more. No, I want to say everything I'm hearing you say is what I like. I think it's where we need to go. And we trusted in you to lead us in this direction. We're going to have to help you, I think, to get you where you want to be, to bring the events here. And just what you were saying, we're all going on weekends. Little places, much smaller than Chattanooga. Some of them smaller than, say, Daisy, to play ball on ball fields and spending our money in their communities. We got to bring all this home and keep our people home. Thank you, Tim.
Absolutely, sir. We need to be doing the right business with the right operators and making the right choices for driving the incremental opportunities that we have for sports. So thank you for your support and thank you for believing.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Tim, for your hard work. And I was glad to support that when we voted on that a few weeks ago. Have you reached out to the city? Why is this not a joint effort?
That's a very good question. We have not yet because we missed their original bid submission with everything that was transpiring. We have met with them. They are aware, but it was something we can definitely look into moving forward in the future.
I mean, really and truly, it benefits the county, but the county doesn't get the sales tax revenue that's generated in the city. So this means tremendous amount of money to them.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I know you missed the deadline, but I don't know if I'd still reach out to them and say, hey, I know I missed the deadline, but this is a new venture. Is there any way I can squeeze my at least your conversation in there?
Okay.
So
Yes, sir. Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
We absolutely will.
Mr. Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Simply want to tell you, there's some high expectations of you to bring athletic programs and citizens to Hamilton County seems to be an easy. Chattanooga is an attractive community. And with what we have to sell and then our facilities, the expectations are high. So we want to help you and will. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. I don't see no more lights. I've got some questions because I pulled up your numbers and I want to make sure we're on the same page. Salaries last year was 245 and this year you wanting to raise it to 510, so it's more than double.
Yes, sir. Right now we're a staff of 3, and all 3 of us have not been employed throughout the entire fiscal year.
So health and retirement, you want it to more than double, obviously, with that, going from 56,000 to 102,000. Professional fees, contract services and payments, you're going from 35,000 to 100,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, what we're looking to do is we're not going to in a full fiscal year. Our very first investment that came from Hamilton County was in September. And so we actually are not going to be completing a full fiscal year. This will be the very first year. And we will not be investing in marketing people right now until we continue to collaborate with Chattanooga Tourism Company. That is targeted to be a contract position and our contractor along with IT. IT is going to be a contracted position.
Yeah, but your outside printing and artwork, you're going from $5,000 to $100,000. So is that what you're paying them for artwork and stuff, or?
What budget are you looking at, sir?
The one you submitted?
Okay. Yep.
Because Because the next one was awards and grants. Are you giving grants out? from
No.
County money? Because it's showing here.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
No awards are, we're not in the grant business. We're not in the award business. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, we are developing programming that through the private revenues that will be generated, we will utilize those private revenues to give back to 501c3 nonprofit organizations that come out and volunteers groups. And we're using it as a means to give back to the community that that have fundraising initiatives.
Well, the awards and grants line on what you submitted us to budget is $850,000.
The awards and grant, I'll have to go back and take a look at that, sir. I'm sorry.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine.
Miscellaneous is over $250,000.
Okay.
And for me, you know, we want to drive events into the community.
Yeah.
But my question is looking at the funding should be driving the events in. I'm not sure this body wants you giving out grants and awards to people to come here.
I can absolutely get back to you and ensure that the verbiage and give a full explanation on exactly how that budget is broken down. And if we're the awards and grants, I can absolutely come back to you, Commissioner.
All right. Okay, yeah, I've got, for me, I've got some questions on this, so.
Absolutely.
So, please circle back with me.
I will.
I don't see any more lights, so. Tim, good job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Apologize for putting you on the spot on.
No, it's fine. I'm good. I'm good. And I will absolutely come back and make sure the budget that I constructed, the format was different than the budget presented as the county. So trying to put things in places, but I will come back with full explanation.
I
So,
understand. Same thing happens when we get the fire departments come up, at just like their numbers don't coincide with what ours say. So,
wonderful.
so I understand.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Carta.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Charles Frazier. I am the CEO of CARTA, also doing business as the Chattanooga Parking Authority. And I have a brief presentation for you, assuming I can get the clicker to work. Your clicker and your buttons are not working. There we go. All right. Got a quick agenda for you. We have 6 distinct budget requests for you this year. And I'm going to go through each of them one by one, and I'll answer all of the 3 buckets for you. The first item is related to parking. And so what I want you to know is a little bit about the background. I'm going to walk you through 2 graphs that we have here. Last year, CARTA, in its 2 garages, we made the first hour of parking free, which is a little bit contrary to what people might think you should do. But here's what happened. So I've got 2 graphs. On the left-hand side, this is our Shuttle Park South garage. We made the first hour free. And what happened over this last year is the people that took advantage of that increased by over 2,000%. What also happened was they stayed for the second hour. And so the second hour increased by 267%. Overall parking at that garage increased by 80%. Revenue increased for CARTA by 46% for that garage. Similarly, at our Shuttle Park North garage, first hour free increased that traffic by 188%. People stayed the second hour, a 500% increase. Overall parking increased by 39%, and total revenue increased by 13%. I'm bringing this to you. So my first bucket is economic impact and economic activity in the downtown core. This is something I hear Mayor Wamp talk about, the importance of getting people downtown. This opportunity is a pilot program for the county to fund a second hour free. The goal here is to remove any obstacle from people coming downtown, visiting restaurants, visiting storefronts. And so we think that this is a great opportunity for the city and county to partner. The total investment for the full year would be a total of $115,000. We would recommend that Shuttle Park North would get $80,000 of that, Shuttle Park South $35,000 annually. That would cover CARTA's lost revenue for that second hour. To answer your question, we're holding the line on this by keeping the first hour free. So we'll make that commitment. We plan to continue that. And then in terms of what we're transitioning away from, the technology, so we're moving away from the paper tickets. We are moving to a license plate reader technology. So I think I've answered all three of your questions on that front. The second item, this is a program that the county is currently funding. It is getting people to drug court. And so the bucket number one, this is really about workforce development and community support. This program was really hatched through conversations with Mr. Roddy on your team and my department. So what I want you to know is that we are in the first year pilot program that's been in place since August of 2025. The people that are participating in the project are able to do two things. Number one, they can ride our fixed route bus system fare free. And that is showing you on the graph there, those are the red lines. And what we're seeing is a continuous increase in the utilization of that service. What are they using it for? As we're interviewing people, they're getting to job interviews, education opportunities. The blue lines are the transportation on the on-demand service that actually gets folks to the drug court itself for those mandatory meetings. So the request here is for $100,000. That is to continue to fund the additional driver and fuel that we are using for the service. And so again, got the results up there for the first year. We think it's been a tremendous success. We'd like to continue it for a second year. Third project is also something that the county is currently funding. This is for our Caravan service. For those of you that are not aware, Caravan is primarily for persons with disabilities. The first bucket that we're filling here is getting people to jobs at the end of the day. This one is a tremendous story, and I want to thank you for your participation and your investment last year. There are several parties investing in this. The city of East Ridge invests in this, the city of Red Bank invests in this, the city of Chattanooga invests in this, and the county invests in this. First thing you need to know is that in the last year, we have increased ridership by 54%. It is a huge number. CARTA has never seen this level of ridership for this service. And I'm going to tell you why. The first thing that we did and where we're holding the line here is keeping fares down, so the fares remain the same. But what we've transitioned away from is a manual system where we used to take reservations on paper and then tabulate that. We have invested in a technology system that has made that much more efficient. We are now a reliable service, which is why we have the increase in ridership. At the same time, we're providing this ridership more efficiently. We're down in mileage 34%. So it's a very efficient service. 45% of all of the trips are for trips to work. And so the graph there, just want to let you know, this is the highest ridership that CARTA has ever seen, that this community has seen in this. We anticipate that East Ridge would see in the next fiscal year, 2,700 trips. Red Bank would see 1,700 trips. The ask of the county is to subsidize those trips in Red Bank and East Ridge at $25 a trip. The total ask is for $111,800. The next is, I think, an important project. I want to tell you that the CEO of the Chambliss Child Care Center is here. Katie Harbison, come on up, and if you'd like, we can talk about this a little bit here. I want to make sure we have enough time. This is transportation for students to get through to the daycare center to schools. And the reason that they're at the daycare center is because their parents are going to jobs that are starting and ending in odd times. Firemen, hospital workers. And so the students are there at the daycare center. The transportation service takes the students to and from the schools. So this is private transportation and is not open to the public. We, on a typical weekday, we're transporting 25 to 50 students to and from the care center to schools. This is transportation by a third party. CARTA is not able to provide this because it is private service, it's public, but I'll tell you why we're involved in a moment. But this is in compliance with the Tennessee Department of Human Services. Cost estimates annually are about $100,000 a year for this service, roughly 1,500 to 1,600 hours annually, and the cost is going to be a variance with the change in gas prices going on now. We're very concerned about what might happen. So I've put a range here of what we will expect in this next fiscal year. What CART is bringing to the table and why we've been involved historically is that we are bringing a federal grant to the table of $40,000 to offset the cost. Chambliss is also meeting the local match requirement of $16,000. And so what we need and the ask of the county is $50,000 annually to continue this service through the next fiscal year. And so Katie's here, and I think we'll take questions. If there's questions, we'll answer those for you. But this, so the first bucket is supporting education, getting kids to and from school, and then also supporting workforce for the people that are working these odd hour jobs. Okay, the next is a pilot program. This is not a program that's in place, so this would be new funding that we would be seeking. I'm calling this County Connect as a pilot program, and so this is a spinoff of our Caravan program, which is provided primarily in the city of Chattanooga, East Ridge, and Red Bank. What I've learned as I've been working with Mayor Wamp and your team, definitely a need, and we hear this from people that live in unincorporated county. They need to get to medical appointments, they need to get to the dentist, they need to get to rehabilitation appointments. And so we've identified a grant opportunity through DOT. This is called the Critical Trips Program. What I would like to do is engage with the county on a pilot program that would specifically target residents that live in unincorporated county. So the pilot program would be 4 to 5 vehicles. It would be 2 to 3 operators that we would put in play. We anticipate that the program, which is not fully fleshed out yet, would run Monday through Friday. There would be a fare for the residents of between $5 and $10, depending on what their round trip travel was. And so here's the request of the county. We're asking for a total of $90,000 commitment so that CARTA can apply for the grant. We do not have the grant yet. We can't apply for it without the local match. So we're looking for $40,000 local match for the $200,000 grant that would cover the operating expense, an additional $50,000 local match for the $300,000 for the vehicles. So the total is $90,000 that we would look for in a commitment. We would only ask you to pay that if we win the grant. And so this is a pilot project opportunity. The 2 buckets that I think this would support is workforce development. So it could get folks to and from jobs. The rule that we would put in play is that the trip needs to start in unincorporated. They could come into the city wherever they need to be. Also, I think it helps health. So this is getting to medical appointments, doctor's appointments, and such. And then finally, another pilot. So this goes back to the big bucket of economic impact and I think supporting tourism. So in my daily work, I'm constantly hearing about the need and desire to activate economic impact. We have a great tourism economy here. We're part of that with the Incline Railway. We are hearing that a airport to downtown shuttle is something that would be attractive to the people coming to Chattanooga. They're coming here for the outdoors. They would love to be able to not ever have a car. And so getting them downtown, once they're downtown, they can utilize our shuttle system, gets them to multiple places. And so this would be a pilot program. Again, it has not been fully fleshed out. We would be looking for seed money. We would develop the program with you. It would be a combination of CARTA vehicles, 4 to 5 of our vehicles, our operators, but then some portion of the trips, we would also fund Uber and Lyft for odd time hours. This would be a pilot program that we would set up for specific activities throughout the year. So it's not available 365. We'd want to partner with you and look for specific events where we'd set this up for the weekend, the week, something to that effect. And so that's a $350,000 request pilot program. We have not done that before. Okay, and so with that, that is the conclusion of my report. Got those 6 areas and happy to take any questions that you might have for me now.
Okay, Commissioner Baker.
Thank you, Chairman. Charles, very creative solutions. I love it. You know, instead of just the same old, you're throwing a lot at us, and I appreciate that because it's creative. I would like to, talk about that parking. I didn't realize it was the first hour free. I don't know what the magic is between first hour and second hour, but that's all equally creative. If we can do it, we should. But let me ask you a more global question, because it seems to me everyone I've talked to, we've got some pretty serious parking issues downtown. Agree or disagree?
I agree. So if you've been seeing the news, I've been on the news most every day for the last like 3 weeks, and it's talking about parking challenges. I'm happy to give you my opinion on it.
Sure.
So, as a reminder, I've been in this community for 2+ years. I'm very happy to be here and use my prior experience to find solutions. One of the first things that I discovered when I got here was the parking ecosystem is incredibly challenging. Couple reasons for that. Number one, you have publicly owned resources. So those are the resources that CARTA owns and operates. It's on-street parking. Our garages and our lots, there are about 7,000 spaces total. That lives with and alongside of privately owned public parking. They've got about 14,000 spaces. For a parker, someone coming downtown, it's very difficult to distinguish between the two. And so I'll share this kind of story with you. It happened to me. Came downtown for a lunch meeting. I was looking for the closest place to the restaurant. Couldn't find an on-street parking, which would have been the least expensive at $2 an hour. So I went to the closest lot. Got in the lot. I wasn't familiar with the lot. I had to download an app. I had to put my credit card in. I was getting frustrated. As I was getting ready to check out, I realized that it was a 4-hour minimum at $10 an hour. And so now my $12 lunch just became a $52 investment. It's a problem. It is an economic impact, economic activity problem to be solved. And so, yes, there's a problem. I convened for the last year and a half in partnership with River City, a quarterly parking meeting. We've invited private operators to the table, business owners to the table, and we've been having the discussion, what are the problems? Multiple problems. Number one, people aren't following the rules when they're parking. So on street, they are not paying their fares. That is quantifiable as a problem. Let me tell you the problem first. For a restaurant owner, the worker is parking in front and staying there all day, taking up the premium space that should be turning over so that we can have people in the restaurants. It's a problem. You must have paid parking. What happens is people park there, they don't pay, there's no enforcement mechanism yet. They rip up the ticket and they go away. The problem is quantifiable. CARTA has 64,000 outstanding citations at a value of $4.1 million. And so the people that are suffering are the business owners downtown. So the citation problem now is being considered by the city, where we would have a consumer protection and parking enforcement mechanism that would do two things. Number one, it gives CARTA the ability to enforce people that are breaking the law. Number two, for private owner operators that want to have access to that enforcement mechanism, they must meet CARTA's licensing requirements. Our licensing requirements will be set by CARTA's board, and they will be things like, you must offer a 1-hour minimum. You can't charge 4 hours to do so. You can't charge more than 150% of the on-street rate, so you can only charge $3 an hour. So I think that there's a solution in play. Going back to the free parking is one way to remove an obstacle from people coming downtown. So we're offering that in the garages. I think it's a huge opportunity for the county to dip your toes into what happens for restaurants and storefronts if we give that second hour free and people can come down without fear and park. It's a secure area. If the restaurant that they want to get to is not right in front of our parking garage, they jump on the free shuttle and get to where they need to go, whether that's Main Street or Broad or wherever it is. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay, we got several other lights. To remind the group up here, we're at a stopping point for this one, but we'll run through real quick. Commissioner Mackey?
Thank you, Chair. Charles, I served on Carter's board for many years. And when I was there, one of the things we did, we took over the parking for the city and built a garage or two. What I did not hear in your presentation is, once upon a time, compared to other municipalities, Hamilton County wasn't contributing as much as the Knoxvilles and other communities. Is that still true?
It is true. So I'm just going to say globally. So number one, in my background, I've worked in many communities, and I don't think that there's an exact science. I think every community is different, and I think that's okay. In the communities that I've worked in, I've encouraged a county and city partnership whenever it's possible. I know that that can be challenging. I can let you know that in many counties, they fund at a much higher rate. I can also let you know that cities fund at a higher rate. And I'll say this frankly, in my opinion, in my experience, this community has never experienced a well-functioning public transit system because it has been chronically underfunded from the get-go. And so I say that not in the most respectful way. I'm letting you know that I am here to listen actively, come up with creative ideas, build buy-in and a coalition of people that can support transit. And that's not always a 40-foot bus. Sometimes it's a smaller vehicle in an unincorporated county getting people to medical appointments. So a little bit of a different flavor.
Yeah, another part of that is there are parts of Chattanooga that are underserved, like the west side. Impoverished, Black population, for the most part, can't get where it needs to get. Are there any thoughts about providing more service to some of these underserved communities? Like back in the day, Carter had trouble with like Soddy Daisy. They weren't given their part of the money for getting service.
The answer is absolutely yes. I would love to come back and spend some time with the commission and share with you my 20-year vision that we've built out. It's service to all of the community. We have a 5-year transformation roadmap that absolutely increases frequency, expands the span of time that we're doing. The whole goal is getting people to jobs, getting people to education, getting people to medical appointments. And I would love to come back and share that with you.
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we're pressed for time, so I'll be brief. I actually have more questions for you, but I'll get with you later. The incline, is it back on its feet now?
Boy, let me just tell you, I could never have predicted that we would have had a fire that would take the incline offline for 7 months. It was devastating. We are up and running since July of last year. I'm very thankful for the team that supported us. That is our 4th highest revenue source for CARTA, so it was critical that we got that back online. The answer is yes. Love to sit down with you and tell you all about that. We are going through a study right now, and we are looking at ways that we can develop both the 3-acre plot of land that we own at the bottom and also develop the upper station as an economic development tool to keep people there longer. So I think there's a huge opportunity. I would love your partnership as we're developing that plan.
And you're finding a way to partnership with the town of Lookout Mountain?
We are, and so let me be clear with you. So you've asked me about this before when I was first here. My predecessor had stopped selling tickets at the top station, and that was a revenue impact for the town. One of the things that you asked me to do when I first got here was look at that. We did look at that. I found it perfectly acceptable to start selling tickets at the top, and so we did. And that revenue source got started, and then we had the fire, and so we were offline for 7 months. What I'll let you know is that the town is very interested in replacing that revenue resource. We have a new provider that is now opened up a improved restaurant at the front. They're selling beer there by the glass. My expectation is that the town will see increased tax revenue from that one item alone. And plus, we're seeing an increase in ridership. So my expectation is that they will continue to see revenue grow. And I'm open to partnering with the town at any time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Highlander, real quick.
Thank you. I do need to be quick. I was going to ask you about the possible effect of the tram, but I'll do that privately later. Just bottom dollar, what are you getting this year total and what are you asking for? You've done some innovative programs. I mean, you've done some great innovations. What's your total receipt this year and what you're asking for next fiscal
Thank you.
year?
I'm gonna go off the cuff here. I think our total request in the current year might be 165, 175,000, something like that. The current year is 800,000 and change. But again, these are intentional requests. I am looking for your partnership in this. These are not completely baked for the pilot programs, but I do think that is a good, worthwhile investment for the county to make.
So 165 additional.
No, 800,000 total for this fiscal year. above the total ask is 815,000 for this coming fiscal year. You are currently funding us at 100,065, I think.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Shipley?
Thank you, Chairman. I'll be brief. I like the part of the rural transportation that would be going getting elderly people, far out district, sick people. And in order to help you, you would need 90,000, 50 and 40 to apply for your grant.
That's right.
And what you said, if that was committed and it didn't work, then no money changes hands, correct?
The answer is, if we apply for the grant and don't get it, then there is no money exchange. That's right. We would only ask you to invest the money for the local purpose of the local match if we win the grant.
I like that. And the only way we ever had a car to best side days if it got stole, then
Well, and also as just a final note, and I know we're out of time, but again, if I could plant the seed, public transit is not always a 40-foot bus. Sometimes it's these smaller vehicles, and we're going out into the rural parts of this community. So I'm open to all of those discussions.
Chairman Smith?
Yeah, just to close it out, Charles, thank you very much. It is great to have people that are coming before this body that are requesting funding, but have really valid reasons for doing so and how it does serve our community. So I just wanted to put that out there and say thank you very much for bringing these considerations to us for the budget.
You're welcome, and I wanted to thank all of you for your time. I've spent time with many of you, and really I'm learning about what your priorities are, what the priorities are for this community, and so I'm an active listener and I'm creative. So I hope that we are able to have some additional funding this year for the purpose of helping this community.
Thank you, Mr. Fraser.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay, River City Company. You got 30 seconds.
Well, Chairman Smith and members of the commission, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to present and share a fiscal year 2027 budget request with you today. My name is Emily Mack, and I am the president and CEO of River City Company. And I am joined by my colleague, Sarah Matson, who is our Senior Director of Economic Development. And before I turn the floor over to Sarah to provide an overview of the Scenic Storefronts Building Improvement Program and our budget request, I wanted to take a moment to provide a brief overview of River City Company and share why investing in this program benefits Hamilton County, including its employees and our taxpayers. River City Company was founded in 1986, so 40 years ago this year. And the organization emerged from Chattanooga Venture and was created as a standalone 501c3 instrument of change with a mission to help our community reinvest in, revitalize, and redevelop downtown Chattanooga. We keep downtown Chattanooga healthy by helping to build capital stacks for major new projects, supporting and recruiting new businesses to downtown, producing major annual events, leading urban planning initiatives, hosting public forums, and working with our community to reimagine iconic places like Hawk Hill and the riverfront. We have a small but a mighty staff of 12. What's really unique about us is that our operations are entirely self-funded, meaning that we do not rely on any external support for our daily operations. However, we are so fortunate to have incredible partnerships with a variety of public and private and philanthropic organizations to implement specific projects and programs. So, you may be wondering why a downtown redevelopment organization is making a budget request. And you may be thinking, okay, Hamilton County, it's 576 square miles. Why should we care about a few miles of downtown? Downtown Chattanooga generates an outsized share of local tax revenue for public expenditures in neighborhoods across the city and the county. Downtown makes up roughly 1% of Hamilton County's acreage, But in fiscal year 2025, it generated $26 million of the county's general fund tax revenue. And it contributed $35 million of Hamilton County's school budget last fiscal year. Downtown job growth also outpaces the regional growth rate. Downtown accounts for 24% of the jobs within Chattanooga and 20% of the jobs within Hamilton County. We added over 5,000 net new jobs over the past decade. Downtown hotels generate 54% of the county-wide hotel revenue, despite having 31% of the county's hotel rooms. Our urban core is our city and our county's economic engine, and it needs to be well maintained so that it can keep producing tax revenue for municipal services far beyond downtown. So when you invest in downtown, you invest in Hamilton County. But more than just dollars and cents, downtown is also the social and the cultural heart of our community. From the Tivoli to the Hunter, from Main Street to the riverfront, downtown is where many Hamilton County residents, our employees, meet up for lunch and dinner and enjoy concerts and cultural attractions. It's where our children experience field trips and where families make memories. And it's where our community comes together to celebrate. Downtown is for all our Hamilton County residents and visitors to live, work, and enjoy. So that's just a really high level about why we care about downtown and why I hope that you do too. So I want to turn our attention to retail recruitment and the Scenic Storefronts Building Improvement Program, which is specific to this budget request. In 2025, River City Company developed a multi-prong retail recruitment plan, and one component is the Scenic Storefronts program. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Matson to share more.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Sarah Matson with River City Company. Last year, we did launch our Retail Recruitment Strategic Plan. This is a multi-pronged approach, as Emily said, to help us recruit a diverse mix of local, regional, and national retailers to downtown. It's really critical that we get the right mix of businesses to create a thriving ecosystem for all of our businesses downtown. Our strategic plan has several areas of focus: a market analysis and a real estate assessment. Those are currently underway. We are also making placemaking efforts, doing data analysis and collection, and we are implementing a building and storefront improvement program. This funding request is going towards this building and storefront improvement program only. Like many downtowns, we do have a challenge with empty and underutilized storefronts. The reason why this problem exists is because build-out is extremely costly. Outdated spaces are harder to rent, and the longer that they sit vacant, the more and more difficult they are for owners to lease out. And access to capital is extremely difficult, especially for our local small business owners. This matters, and vacant storefronts impact our downtown because they detract from the vibrancy of our downtown and detract from the businesses around them. They attract public nuisances like trash, vandalism, and can be safety concerns, and they limit tax contributions. Throughout last year, we spent a tremendous amount of time researching and visiting cities across the country to figure out how other communities were addressing this issue. Overwhelmingly, we found that nearly every community had some sort of facade or building improvement program, including most of our peer cities like Knoxville, Huntsville, Greenville, Birmingham, Nashville. These are cities that we compete with to get prime retailers. Storefront improvement programs catalyze revitalization, help us attract and retain small businesses, increase the tax revenue, and preserve the character of our downtown. Based on those best practices that we researched and found, we did launch our Scenic Storefronts Building Improvement Program last year. This program has been met with tremendous success already. We've already approved 4 applications for new local small businesses in the downtown area and 1 local business expansion. Brokers are already using this tool to attract retailers to large, difficult-to-fill spaces downtown. And we have at least 5 other projects that are currently in queue that are finalizing their construction documents and intend to apply. This program is funded by a dedicated restricted fund. It provides a 1-to-1 matching grant. It's available to business owners or property owners as long as it's for ground floor retail. It is for permanent interior and exterior improvements such as awnings, doors, windows, paint, construction costs, patios, grease traps. And River City Company is providing technical assistance and professional design guidance to business owners to help them through the process. Again, 100% of this funding request would go into this dedicated restricted fund and go directly to small businesses to help create vibrant and scenic storefronts in downtown. Thank you so much.
Okay, have some lights, Commissioner Mackey.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one question. When you were competing with the Ashevilles, the Knoxvilles, what do you tout about Chattanooga as to why companies and businesses and retail groups might want to come here?
Go
Go
for
ahead.
it.
You look like you had a thought. So I think a lot of times we've heard from businesses, one of the number one reasons that businesses want to come here is for the quality of life for their employees. That's a common thing, but we do find when attracting significant retailers that they are really looking at the market analysis, and we need to have that data. So that's one reason why that's a part of our strategic plan, is to be able to have very straightforward data to provide them. But most other cities provide some sort of incentive to recruit them to their city. So we need to be competitive in that aspect. You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is the Downtown Alliance, hello, ladies, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Hi,
get
it's
just
good.
right in there. Thank you for being here. Is the Downtown Alliance working out as well as expected?
Very much so. We are so grateful for the Downtown Chattanooga Alliance and the Business Improvement District. They are an incredible partner, and we work with them day in and day out. And so they help ensure that downtown is a welcoming, safe, and clean downtown. So we are incredibly grateful. And yes, they are working.
Well, and I know you're both just 29, but happy 40th birthday to River City.
Okay, we have no more lights. I would just, with what you work, the initiative downtown, we've got several storefronts that we've got to really continue to focus on. We need, in my opinion, the vibrance of Chattanooga, just continue to spread it out. Because we've got some really good spots in Chattanooga that you can play, you can eat. Then we got some spots that may be a block over, and I can think of right across from the 600 Market Street, right across from the sheriff's office. We got a row of empty buildings there that we just need to make sure that we continue to market and bring some folks in. So, but that is it. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll transition to Mowbray Fire Department.
Commissioners, thank you for having me. We'll just kind of flip through this, the clicker. Perfect. All right. Oh. Okay. There we go. There you go. Strategic investment in Mowbray Fire Department. All right. So Hamilton County has been an excellent partner since I've been on there, since the wildfires back in, I guess, 2014. What we're looking for as far as funding goes is, replacement of aging fire apparatuses. As 1 year passes, the fire equipment gets older. We want to keep updating our PPE for our firefighter safety, obviously. One of the other things is we want to expand training and programs, but the biggest thing is probably the recruitment and retention incentives that we provide that, we're pretty much I feel like we're leading the area as far as recruitment goes. What it matters to the county, we get Mowbray, I'm not throwing shade at anybody else, but we have the fastest response times. A lot of that's got to do with our geographic location. We're not spread out as far as a lot of these departments are. So we routinely can be on scene within 4 or 5 minutes. We're very proud of that because I don't know if you guys can see that. Sorry.
We can't. It's in front of
Perfect.
us.
So we're, because it takes 15 minutes to get up the mountain. I know a lot of you guys have been up there. We need to be self-reliant until help can get there. So we need to be able to fight those battles until help does arrive. So we're able to be stronger as far as disaster readiness. And biggest thing we're probably proud of the most is our ISO improvement. You look back at 2011, we were a class 9. And I'm hoping that everyone up here knows how that relates to homeowners and taxpayers and everything. We're just 2 points shy of a class 3, which is pretty incredible for a department of our size. The impact on taxpayers, well, it's a safer coordination with first responders across the board. We're able to communicate with Dallas Bay and other local fire departments, and we work together very well. So it's a lot less of a strain on the volunteer support when you're able to do that with improved communication and the interoperability there. Again, we've partnered with those to, we go when they get called, they go when we get called. So, but again, it's about a 15-minute wait no matter what. It just takes that amount of time to get up the mountain. The impact on taxpayers for the revenue that you guys have been doing for us is obviously faster response times, better outcomes, the lower property loss and insurance costs. I can cite it was a mobile home, double wide. This thing was fully engulfed and our guys got there and shut it down like quick. And it's hard to see that just about anywhere, let alone a mobile home. We maintain service without full cost of paid staffing. That's another big deal. I know a lot of talk have went into what it takes to do a paid department for the county, and we just don't think that's necessary. We think we can carry the load at a minimal cost. Service improvements, again, expanded fire protection and response reliability. We've actually we're looking at we're really close to it. EMS capability moving from what's called a BLS to an ALS support. That's addressing delay because we've got the limited EMS resources. Basically, instead of you guys building a EMS station up on the mountain, our guys are trained. It's just a matter of flipping a switch, and they can provide things like sodium bicarbonate and epinephrine if you've got a heart attack. These things are important. Just get that in a timely manner. So we're really close to that. Just need really the signatures from the state to have that done. And that's a service that, we're a fire department and a rescue service, but medical is a large part of what we run. So we want to provide that care, and we do have the staff that has the credentials to do that. Increase firefighter safety and operational efficiency. We train like there's no tomorrow. Okay, we've got a Connex up there, so our guys don't have to come down the mountain, but we practice, drill, and rehearse all the time. And the proof is in the pudding when we go run a call. All right, so the long-term value is, again, sustainable emergency services, not wondering if, we're going to, drop the ball at any given point. We're dependable, we're steadfast. Lower replacement costs through proactive investments. We're maintaining our vehicles. We're maintaining the things that we do have, so it's not going to hit us so hard when, something breaks. We proactively look at solutions to prevent that. Again, stronger recruitment and retention, and the increased property values and community stability. Well, obviously it's going to matter if the insurance companies think that the house is not going to burn down because we get there in time. Budget stability, the administrative expense, the things that we're holding flat, administrative expenses, those are pretty much staying flat lines. Utilities, obviously, they went up a little bit, but not much. Non-essential equipment, we've pretty much cut that down. You know, we demonstrate fiscal discipline every year in and year out. We're not sitting on a boatload of cash in reserves. We use what you guys give us. Okay. We keep funding focused on critical services. So as far as the long-term value goes, we're predictable. We're sustainable budgeting. We allow for future investment in high priority needs like SCBA's, apparatuses, things like that. Again, it's a big continuing, deal. So as we're transitioning the budget, we have to replace outdated equipment. That's just part of it. Repair these big heavy apparatuses, and then we've got underutilized equipment as well. Some equipment's exceeded its service life. We air packs and bottles. We're figuring that's about $600,000. Now that's not what we're not asking for that. We're just telling you the kind of what we're looking at. If I was in your shoes as commissioners, and I don't want to be, but I would probably want to know what I'm looking at, not just this year, but moving forward. So the service impact, we're not going to have any reduction in service. We're looking to increase the service. Like I said, we'd like to continue the stopping program. It's been extremely successful at, those hard to staff days or hard to staff times during the day when most people are at work. It's easy to cover a shift in the evening, but during the day when you have trouble, that's when you want people. And again, limited ability to save for apparatus under the current funding. It's just the funding's just not there to do what we need to do, but it is what it is. We have to deal with, it's like anybody else. You got to deal with what you got. So the adjustments that we'll have to make, we've requested a certain amount, which is actually a little bit less than we requested last year. It's not what we got, but that's a moot point. We will have to adjust what we're going to be spending money on based on what we get. So our current funding from last year was $165,884. We just looking through it, and we're not doing this lightly. 386 is what we're looking for. But obviously, given what an increase that would be over last year, we don't expect to get that. So we'll have to figure out what we get, and then we'll have to adjust accordingly. So it's not an expansion. It's just what we deem as the minimum to maintain. Want to thank everybody. This is kind of a list of our board members who all puts in the sweat equity, for free. So, any questions?
Now, where's Chief Wedding at?
He's not here. He's out of town. Yeah.
Is he on a cruise again?
He's on a cruise again. Yep. Yeah, we were real blessed as a department. I feel like it was to get him being the licensed paramedic that he is. Again, medical calls are, I'd hate to say it, but I think they're probably 2/3 of what we run, guys. And if you're in trouble, that first guy, him being there, it's nice to know he's got the the technical knowledge to help people.
Mr. Shipley?
Brag on these guys. Mowbray's top notch out there, and they're the residents of that area are proud of their fire department. Me and Commissioner Baker share that area together, and they started breakfast a couple of years ago, and you go out there now, they have a packed house. So the people in the community is appreciating and responding to this department. So thank y'all for all you do, James.
Appreciate that. And I'll definitely pass those sentiments along.
Thank you. Commissioner Highlander?
It'd be very brief, but a friend of mine's mother had a heart attack a few years ago, lived by herself. You guys got there and saved her life. So, I mean, there's no money, no dollar figure you can put on that. Thank you.
I can't thank you enough for sharing that with me. It really helps motivate those guys are the ones that do it. I just, I try to help when I can, but knowing stories like that, it really helps you during the struggles. So thank you.
Commissioner Graham?
I just want to thank you for your service and thank you for what you all do for Hamilton County every day. It doesn't go unnoticed. Sometimes we can't afford to do more, but I just want to thank you very much for your hard work.
Well, thank you, Commissioner.
I'll close with this. James, thank you for coming up here. I appreciate it. And tell Weddington we missed him. And we'll have to make a special occasion for him. when
We
he gets
just come
back
up to
in town.
breakfast. You've been up there before.
Oh,
You
I
know how
know.
to get there.
Y'all do a
see
great
ya.
job.
I'll
Y'all-
lay you some bacon out on the side. okay?
Thank you. The county, a couple years ago, began measuring response times and so forth, and you guys do a great job. So thank you for what you do. And because that's important, because when you're in the unincorporated part of the county, you don't have a city fire department that can respond within minutes. And we were trending and tracking, Nathan's not here, but we were tracking response times that were in the 20 and 30 minutes to a house fire.
Yes, sir.
And in the county, when you roll up that house fire, there's no fire hydrant. I had some constituents this weekend that lost a home that sits on the river.
Yeah.
That had 2.5-inch mains coming into it that couldn't get a fire hydrant there if we wanted one.
Yeah.
So we had to drive a truck for a mile from closest fire hydrant just to provide water. And those are the pressures that we have in an unincorporated part of the county. And I'm really hoping that this new planning department helps us identify things like that and helps us help you get done. Because I know without a doubt, there's 3 chiefs in this room now. And James, I'll consider you a chief, but wants to do nothing but the very best for those that they represent. So thank you.
100%.
So thank you for what you guys do. I really appreciate it.
One of the, going back to the apparatus that we're looking at, just to your point, and I know that you're in a hurry and you got a ton of things to do. One of the things we're looking at is called a pumper tanker. Okay, so it's basically a hybrid, and it can kind of get you by when you can't get to a fire hydrant, because like you say, in the unincorporated areas, in the rural communities, those fire hydrants, they're not that close. So, but that's a sizable investment, so we have to usually put that on time, on a loan and whatnot. But we would need to, from a board aspect, and I'm looking to go into to take a 10-year note, just looking at it from our end, we just need to know that the funding's there to pay that every year. So these are some of the challenges, just sharing with you what we look at. But I can't thank you guys enough for everything you've done. You look at where we started as far as funding from the county and where we're at now. My hat's off to you guys. So thanks.
Thank you, James. We got one other commissioner that wants to brag on you. So Commissioner Mack.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I've heard this presentation, but I would like to get from commissioners who live in these outlying areas, what are the people saying about the service they get? If anybody care to come.
I think I just spoke to that a minute ago. I mean.
Well, say it again, because I like hearing it.
People out at Mowbray Mountain are excited what's happening with that department and how it's come together, and there's just more and more involvement every month out there. And these guys are turning out to wrecks, sick calls, we sit here and we talk, but Mowbray Mountain, you know where it's at. Could I take you out there?
Bring him up. We have our breakfast on the third Saturday. I think you would like it. You certainly probably would like the food.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's had breakfast like that before.
But it's way out there.
It's good.
And
it's really good.
It's not continental breakfast either.
You too, Mr. Sharp.
No.
Bring you
When
up
you
there.
need a Hamlet's out there,
Yeah.
it can be a while before Hamlet's can get there. So people have got to see somebody like Weddington. Wow. But it's comforting them to know somebody can help them and they're not laying there waiting on an ambulance. There you go, Commissioner Maggie.
Thank you, sir.
James, thank you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Flat top. I'm sorry, Commissioner Sharp, you want to say something as we're transitioning?
Well, I can. I was just going to say hello to James since he mentioned me by name.
It's good to see you. And you guys do good work up there. I see your Facebook posts all the time. You do have a lot of community involvement. I think that's really important. And there's some development going on Mowbray Mountain right now. There's additional new houses being built up there, and there's going to need to be services to enhance services to maintain the level of service that you guys provide. And I understand that.
I'll give you 15. Come back to Mike.
You know, we look
Come back to
at-
Mike, James.
Look at the county, across the county, and so often not, we're saying that the growth is outpacing everything. This is one of the few areas in Hamilton County where we're ready. Honestly, if we had more water, sky's the limit. And it just doesn't exist anywhere else in the county. The fire hall, you guys invested in that. We've been slowly investing in the apparatuses and the staff. We're ready when it happens. And it just doesn't exist anywhere else. I've looked. I'm not
Right.
saying that, but it's something we're very proud of to get ahead of it. And you guys continue investments. That's what's done it. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you, James.
course, yeah, we do. This county, we have continued to invest in these volunteer fire departments and various unincorporated emergency services. I think over the last few years, quite substantially. And I support those investments. One thing that has stood out to me on the other side of that conversation is that over the course of the last 3 budgets, year over year, we have invested a lesser percentage of our county budget in our public schools. And that's something that concerns me. That as we face continued changes on the state level with how
Can we talk about that when we get to the school budget?
we can, but I just
Since
wanted
we're on a
to,
time frame today.
no, I understand. But they're not independent issues. One impacts the other. So I just want to continue to remind everybody that as we continue to invest more in certain areas, right, and we hold the line on other areas, Chairman, as you've mentioned, some areas have to pay the cost. And that's something I think we all need to keep top of mind. Thank you, James. Chairman, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we're all passionate about things that we believe in. So I don't think any of us are wrong. I don't think any of us are necessarily right on certain things. It's just our opinion. So, all right, Flat Top. Floor is yours.
Top. Do I need to turn something on? Is this on?
You're on.
Sorry. Okay, my name's Danny Welch. I'm the fire chief of Flat Top Fire Department. We have about 12 to 13 active firefighters, probably about 18 to 20 counting the administration people we got. We've come a long way from hand down one truck when we started in I've been chief since 93, so I think about 1988. We had a truck that come from Tricom, then it went to Mowbray, and then Mowbray felt sorry for us and let us take it over there and use it. Most of our calls in our district now, we've come quite a ways from there, is either highway accidents on Highway 111 or medical calls, a lot of elderly people. And thereby we started initiating trying to get started with the emergency medical. We needed a truck, and we worked on that, and we're trying to get one. ISO told us that if we could get another pumper truck with at least 2,000 gallon tank and get it one that'll pump as well as haul the water, our ISO rating for the people out on the mountains insurance, that it would increase. I believe we're 6 right now. And he said he didn't give a figure, but real close, but I think 7 or 8, something like that. Our biggest problem is just like Mowbray, we don't have enough water supply for just to have one truck. So by getting another truck, we got a medical wagon. I've got some people that's been training. They've got their EMR certificates and things. I've got 4 right now, 5 right now that are EMRs. And so the county's been good about helping us getting the supplies for the EMRs and doing the testing of the students. And it's starting to take off real well. It's helped out a lot. People really appreciate it. So if we can get our ISO rating up, we've got a new building we just built. That's a 40 by 60 building right next to the main fire hall. We're just right now beginning to, we're going to heat it with propane heat. So we had to get a tank and stuff. And once the building was finished, if we can get another truck up there to house it, that was the main reason we wanted to do that. And we hold elections up there at our fire hall too, so a little bigger space for the people that come to vote up there. And we've got a lot of the people out there on Flat Top is real good about donating. We do it once a year. We don't have no subscription. We don't take it out of the light bill or nothing like that, but they're good about giving. And right now we're still trying to get that second truck. We've got some money, but we're gonna have to have a little more. I've got about 8 or 10 SCBA's. It's way out of date. Things like that. There's some stuff that we're having to deal with, and it takes more money for that. And the cost of everything's going up. Fuel's going up. Fuel went way up since I made this budget request here. We do need, we've got a piece of property that the county bought when Mayor Carpenter was there. He was thinking about approaching the commission about expanding our fire hall. And he talked to them about it, and they purchased that piece of property. It touches ours, and he was either going to expand our fire hall or well, he was going to try to expand it right next to, join it onto ours, or just build a complete fire hall different. But I think his daughter or granddaughter talked him out of it. So anyway, he quit. So now I've thought about in the future things. We need parking up there for the voting and for people to come up there. And I'm wanting to clear that off. It's just a wooded, real high wooded lot with an old crater on it. And I'm hoping to be able to get to clear that off and make a nice parking lot right there for the people out there. I guess that's about all I've got.
Okay. Mr. Shipley?
Yeah, I bragged on Mowbray, I'm gonna brag on Chief here at Flat Top. A few years ago, me and Kelly went out and met with them. They had some money. We talked to them about the building, what we would like to see. They jumped right on it. They built a nice building out there in the house, a new truck. And on top of that, they got right on the ball and got their medical. They're answering a lot of calls out there. Now, Mowbray's far out, but Flat Top's further. And to have people laying in floors and injured with no help, I know they love to see Flat Top get that. on the scene. That community is excited about what they're seeing as well. I mean, they're getting some things that hadn't had in years. I know kind of a bad thing here, but when I first went out to see Chief Welch, maybe months after I was elected, he told me I was the first county commissioner to walk in his fire hall since 1994, you said. So they needed attention, and by working with them, they have done the right things and done it the right way, and I hope we can help them this year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Chief, that's all we got. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We got Agriculture Extension Services.
Sir, I got Dallas Bay here if you have time for them as well.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Get them.
I've wrote them in at, after Houston Museum.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, Chief.
Somebody else before me, or is that right? Yeah. Am I next? Okay, okay. Good afternoon, everyone, Mr. Chairman, Budget Committee. I have provided some information with regards to the budget hearing today, and had sent document regarding information for the budget information as well. So hopefully you have received that. This is an opportunity today to share information with regards to the University of Tennessee and Tennessee State Extension for Hamilton County. And the budget that we've submitted was reviewed by the University of Tennessee Dean's Office and the Tennessee State University through their extension program. Also reviewed by our Ag Committee that's made up of commissioners and 4 county citizens with regards to the extension office as well. So the information that was provided has like our mission listed, and the information with programming. We have programming in the areas of agriculture, family and consumer sciences, community resource development, and 4-H youth development. So we hit various ages of citizens throughout the county, different parts of the county. Our programs are offered to all people with regards to ages and such. Our 4-H program starts with 4th grade, goes through 12th grade, and we have different programming throughout the community as well. So I've listed some of the programming on the first page with stretching food dollars, nutrition education, living with chronic diseases, financial education, youth development leading to financial education, along with citizenship and leadership development. We also have in the areas of public speaking and communication skills. And then in agriculture, there's horticulture, both residential and commercial, and environmental conservation and gardening, the Master Gardener program, and then a variety of master classes relating to beef, horse, poultry, those various areas that are listed there. The next page had a history with regards to the county budget from 2009 through 2026. I do want to note, last year we had a 1% increase that we requested, and that a little bit of history there. When we submitted our budget in January, we were not aware of a change coming from UT with regards to benefits, staff benefits related to some of our employees. And so we had a couple of employees that had been grandfathered in with regards to coverage, and then setting a flat amount related to that as well. So that's part of the reason that we had the 1%, because we thought that that was still taken care of. And so this year, making up for some of that, and now that that is effective across the board with regards to both UT and TSU. So With regards to funding request, includes promotion funding for our agricultural agent, Haley Treadway. She's gone through a 9-month promotion process with the university and moving from an agent 1 to an agent 2. And there is a percentage increase in that pay. And so the county dollars for that are listed with that. We have change of benefits for the 2 agents. The uniform benefit rate for all employees through UT is now at 34.6%. And then the uniform benefit rate for TSU is calculated at 35.5. We do have a percentage increase looking at benefits, longevity on the county dollars. We have split county pay and state pay in our salaries for every position, for all 9 positions. I'm sorry, for all 7 positions. We have 2 positions in the office that are funded by the state through our FNEP program, and then the other 7 are funded through the county. We have 1 program assistant, and that's a part-time position that the county's paying the salary for. And as it's part-time, there are very few benefits with regards to that amount that's being paid. There is an increase that UT is looking at, moving admins and the program assistants to an $18 an hour minimum as far as that goes. We've been at 15, 16, and then the university is proposing that we move that amount to $18 per hour. The position that it mainly affects is that program assistant position with regards to that. I do not know at this time. Both our admins are barely over that amount, so I don't know if there's going to be any kind of compression study with regards to employees, if there will be any change with regards to that at that point. There's also an increase in travel dollars of less than $200, and then a decrease in communication expenses, looking at about a $1,600 difference there. We are on the we're on the county phone system now, so we don't have a monthly phone expense, and we removed our fax line due to the fact that we can, with the equipment that we have, we can scan in or take care of documents that way instead of having to fax. So that is a savings there. The benefits of the funding, keeping experienced employees. Most of the employees have worked there multiple years, up to our longest serving employee, close to 40 years. And then also increased pay for employees performing at higher levels of performance based on appraisals. The University of Tennessee has an appraisal system, and all of our professional positions and our admins perform at a really high level and do well on their performance appraisals each year. So you may not be aware of that, but we have a highly functioning county staff here, one I'd compare against anybody in the state. So for the taxpayer, their continued programs, education services, information resources, and opportunities that are provided through Extension. We have people that frequently call the office, email the agents. We have opportunities to do home visits, farm visits, local opportunities. We're in different schools in the community. We also have community programs that are offered, and people can come and participate in those. Some programs do have a cost, but many of them do not have a cost associated with them. With an experienced staff, we continue to improve our programs and services for the citizens. It educates them. It makes them better homeowners, better people dealing with their children, dealing with their community, providing leadership opportunities for them. And then in the long term, there's increased knowledge, skills, education, economic impact to the county. There are some operating expenses that we've kept at the same amount, which supplies and equipment, which is shared throughout the needs for any employee with regards to that's county funded. Rental and maintenance expenses have stayed consistent, and professional memberships, and those are spread among the agents, administrative assistants, and program assistant. And I strongly encourage people to belong to their professional associations, and that provides them additional education, opportunity for leadership, and opportunities for recognition as well. So the transition plan, we do not have a transition plan with regards to the budget. We have had funding from the county provided there through our partnership, and hope that continues. On the next page, we do have numbers that we report. So I've given you the 2025 numbers because we're just in the first quarter of 2026. But you can tell with group meetings, on-site visits, we've had more than 25,000 people participate in our group meetings, and then we have completed on-site visits for 642 individuals. And so that may be farm visit, home visit, agency visits, recruitment, meetings that we have out in the community that are more one-on-one or small group. The communication contacts are there that you can see with regards to personal communication, digital contacts, and mass outreach. And those are listed and what those represent there. Whether that's phone or email or those kinds of things that are contacts, over 164,000. And then digital contacts, over 600,000, and over 500,000 with regards to mass outreach. And then with the employee hours reported through our super system, we keep that. It's reported to the state, it's reported to our regional directors, to the dean's office. And you can see we also have volunteers that are involved in our program. And last year's value of what the volunteers gave back to our program was over $500,000. And the vast majority of those are Hamilton County citizens that are providing and giving back in these different program areas to our program. So any questions? Any questions, I'll be happy to address. Okay.
For comments, Commissioner Hollander.
Thank you. I know we're tight on time, but I'll say, a lot of people don't understand, agriculture is not just rural areas. We have a tremendous amount of inner city people that everything from young children, babies with mothers, and all the way to the elderly. And it is not, a lot of people have a misnomer, a misunderstanding. I think Commissioner Sharp and Commissioner Shipley served with me on that committee, and I have been very impressed with the variety of people that are helped all across this county. I mean, from the inner city and downtown Chattanooga and Lookout Valley all the way out to Sail Creek and Birchwood. I mean, all the way through. And I cannot tell you how many people are affected. I think she said 50,000 at one time. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sharp.
Real quickly, Chairman, I just wanted to mention basically what Commissioner Highlander said. It's quite possible that this Ag Extension Program is the best bang for the buck that we have in our budget. They serve so many people in our community. Honestly, it's unfathomable. I don't know how you do it, Nancy. You do a wonderful job. You have an incredible staff over there at the Ag Extension office.
Thank you.
And that's just not just me talking. We were fortunate enough to have lunch with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Tennessee, who was visiting through just a few weeks ago. The praise that he gave to your office was, I mean, not that I didn't expect it, but I mean, it was high praise. You guys do a wonderful job, and every penny in this budget that you guys use is put to incredibly good use. You're incredibly frugal over there in your office, and I thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Press for time, so Commissioner Shipley.
Be brief. Thank you for everything y'all do over there. And I know you're underfunded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, Houston Museum. Dallas Bay, you're next.
Hi, my name is Pam Reed. I'm the Executive Director of the Houston Museum. I have hard copies of the presentation. Is it okay to pass them around, or just to make it a little easier to follow along?
We got
Okay.
On screen there.
So the Houston Museum has been in Chattanooga since the 1960s. We're located in the Bluffview Art District. Our museum was founded actually by one woman. Everything in our museum was collected by one woman. So it's a decorative arts collection, really unique story. She lived in Chattanooga and used the train to make her art collection. And we, in 2023, launched a capital campaign to preserve our building, which was built in the 1890s. It's the oldest house that still lives in the Bluffview Art District. We've been in there since 1968. Naturally, with older buildings, they weren't built with ADA in mind. And also there's other limitations with the building. So we've been operating in there since the 1960s, but underneath a lot of limitations. And so we're reaching out to Hamilton County to support our capital project. And I'm just going to quickly go through the slide. Sure. Oh, no, sure, please. Thank you. So the challenges with the building, they're vast. The building needed a lot of work, new electrical, it needed HVAC, it needed new plumbing. I mean, the building was built in 1892. As I said, it's the oldest building up there, and we've been operating out of there since the 60s with a lot of challenges. So in 2023, like I said, we launched the capital campaign. The main things we were looking to address were accessibility and education. Our museum has existed for over 6 decades without our own classroom. So we haven't been able to serve the community in the way that our founder really intended. So by doing this preservation project, not only were we preserving the oldest building, but we were also adding a component where we can better serve the community by having a classroom, as well as making the entire building ADA for the first time in the museum's history. So there's a lot of challenges getting into the building. There's stairs. We have one spiral staircase. We have only one bathroom. It was on the 2nd floor. We typically send them to Rembrandt's. But in the future, we'll have 2 ADA restrooms, one on each floor, and we'll be able to serve the community in a more professional setting. The solutions for these challenges are to add an elevator so that the building can be ADA, so it can bring you in from the basement level to the 1st floor and the 2nd floor, which is something we've never been able to do before. Like I mentioned, having the restrooms, and then also our first ever dedicated classroom space. We see thousands of visitors every year, but we know that we can do a lot more by having the space in the facility to be able to do that. As part of this project, we're working hard to be good stewards. The project started actually at $5 million, but we've been able to reduce the budget dramatically by just making some really clever design decisions. My architect is here from River Street Architecture if you have any follow-up questions. But we were also able, during the time of construction, we partnered with the Portera family and moved into the back-end cafe. So even though the museum was closed and under construction, we were still able to set up a temporary museum and still support the community as best as we could by doing a lot of outreach programs, going into the schools, senior centers, and just continuing our mission, even though the building was closed and being completely renovated. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well is we broke the project into 3 phases. We did this intentionally because we were really fundraising as we've been doing the project. So the first thing we needed to do was fix the foundation of the building. Once we knew we got additional funding, we were able to preserve the building itself. And then when the fundraising continued, we could do the expansion to add the classroom, add the elevator, and fix the bathrooms. And the total project budget, as I mentioned, is $3.7 million, and we've secured $3.43 million to date. That's 93% of the funding for the project. So we're really proud of this accomplishment in such a short period of time. And we've gotten support from the state of Tennessee through the Tennessee State Museum grant. We've worked obviously with a lot of private donors in the community, as well as local foundations and the city of Chattanooga. So we are asking Hamilton County to invest $85,000 in the project to help us get to the finish line and to be able to make the building more accessible for everyone in the community, have our first ever classroom, And also, the building is the oldest building that stands in the bluff. It's older than the Hunter. It's older than all of the other buildings up there. It's not every day that our community gets to be in a house from the 1800s, and it has a lot of beautiful details, and we're really excited to be preserving this landmark for the community. And lastly, just thank you for all your support for all
Okay.
of the other organizations you support in the community.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Commissioner Mackey.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, you all already know that I very much advocate for this program. That building, the new construction is coming on quite nicely. I'm looking forward to coming in. I almost came in the other day to visit and, just looking for you to complete the project.
Thank you so much.
Almost.
Hmm?
Almost.
Almost.
Call me anytime. I'd be happy to take anybody through to see the progress. It's really looking amazing. We've already started to move back in, and we're hoping later this summer we'll be open again to the public.
Thank you so much. We
Great. Thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
time. Thank you.
Chief Fritz.
Good afternoon.
You got
Uh,
8 minutes.
Okay, I brought some help with me. No, I'm about to lose my voice from the pollen, so he's gonna go over it. There was 3 bullets that you guys asked for, current budget and how it's working, why it's not working on the second part, and what we needed and justify our existence. That's what we did. He's gonna read it here, and then we'll take the questions.
Okay.
Good evening. So how our current budget is working. Our current budget allows us to maintain emergency response coverage for a district and assist other departments as needed. We continue to respond to a growing number of calls, especially medical emergencies, along with boat and dive responses throughout Hamilton County and across Tennessee when mutual aid is required. As Hamilton County continues to grow, our district is also experiencing the same growth, which is increasing the demand for emergency services. However, due to the increase in call volume, we're beginning to see limitations with the current staffing models. There have been many times when we have 5 or 6 calls at the same time. With their current staffing models, we simply do not have enough personnel to cover all these incidents effectively. As a result, some responses go delayed or possibly even uncovered. One of the ways we have managed to continue providing service is by using a combination of volunteers and part-time staffing. This allows us to keep apparatus staffed and respond quickly while still being responsible with taxpayer funds. However, funding these paid shifts has taken away from critical needs such as purchasing equipment, planning for future purchases, and equipment replacement. Because of this, we no longer have the ability to set aside funds for future needs the way we once could. Dallas Bay Fire and Rescue, the board of directors, and the chief had to sign a loan for $650,000 to purchase SCBA that had expired for safe use, and that was the first of this year we did that. The end of last year. The downfall and challenges, the biggest challenge with the current budget is emergency call volume continues to increase while funding remains the same. Equipment, training, and safety gear continue to be more expensive each year. Because we're not fully staffed full-time department, we must rely heavily on volunteers. While that model saves money, it can create challenges with staffing, availability, maintaining equipment, and training at the level required for today's emergency services. And because we're not a fully staffed career department, we're able to provide emergency services to the community at a much lower cost while still supporting the county with mutual aid as needed. We are currently an ISO 2 rating that saves our homeowners and businesses thousands of dollars in insurance money. But if we cannot maintain the funding we need, we end up losing money. We cannot keep that ISO requirement. If we have an increase in funding, our combination department, which uses both volunteers and part-time staff, provides a significant benefit to taxpayers. Because we're not fully staffed, we are able to provide services at a much lower cost while still protecting the community and assisting other departments when needed. We will have funding for some more part-time staffing. The model allows taxpayers to receive professional emergency response to fire protection, medical response, specialty services such as boat, swift water, and diving without the much higher cost of a fully paid department with full salaries, benefits, and retirement. But as our costs continue to go up, we may be forced to cut some of these services that would directly impact the people in our community with delayed responses, fewer available personnel, reduced capabilities, which could affect the level of protection our residents expect and deserve. Our goal is to continue providing strong emergency services and always having someone available to respond as soon as the call comes out, while keeping costs as low as possible for the taxpayers we serve. And we also had looked at some costs of some increases between 2020 and 2025. Let's see, fire gears increased 52.6%. SCBA has increased $160,000. Oh, I'm sorry. In 2010, it was $160,000, and currently it's $650,000. Fire trucks have increased 64.6%. Light bill has increased 52.6%. Insurance has doubled in price, or more than doubled, 109%. And of course, fuel has went up. It's 152% more than what it was back then.
Okay. I don't see any questions from the DS up here. Commissioner Shipley?
I share this kind of with Commissioner Smith. A lot of my residents live in the district. It's growing fast. We've got some new subdivisions that's actually in my district covered by Dallas Bay. Of course, Dallas Bay is doing a super job in medical in the Sequoia district. But I know this fire department is like you guys, 58 Tricom. It's one of the biggest, fastest growing areas. These guys do a good job. I think every time you see the news, you see Dallas Bay is somewhere there assisting. And they do an excellent job all over the county. Thank y'all for everything.
Commissioner Mackey, you got our last question, comment?
Hey, Chair, the fuel costs for them and other agencies like that, can someone say something about it? I know it's going up, but what are they projecting?
I don't know. Lee, is there any projections on fuel costs? I mean, last I heard, there was no projections on fuel cost.
No significant change from the current method of pricing fuel costs.
So you'll continue to be able to operate as you are?
Yes. Yes. The biggest challenge we have is the growth. Okay. And the amount of calls that we're receiving. We got 20 times a day. I started this in 1982. We might went out 2 times a month. You know, we went to a combination to make sure that we had people staffed to go out as soon as the call comes in. But now that we have grown, and I've got 11 subdivisions sitting on my desk right now coming, we get so many calls. The one that sticks in my mind was 2 Fridays ago. Had a 60-year-old one CPR. I went to it. While I was there, we had an infant CPR, and I was able to cover it.
Yeah.
There was people at the station could get there quickly. We are ALS. That changes the price of doing business. Other departments can use AEDs. We have to have LifePak 15s. They're $32,000. We had to buy them. You know, and yesterday I get in an argument with the lady that owns the marina that we park our boat at. She went up $1,100 this year. And I told her, so ma'am, we don't charge you services to come over there. You know, and if you have a boat sink, we don't bill you guys. You know, and if you don't give us funds, you can't use our ISO rating. She said, I was trying to steal from her. Like I was gonna make money on this. I mean, this is not money for me. And she said, if you don't like it, get your boat and get out. I said, well, you know what? I'll do that. Then I'm gonna call Channel 9, 3, and 12 and say, look, Harbor Lights Marina throwed us out because we couldn't pay, you know? And it changed.
Chief, we appreciate what you're doing. See no more lights. With that, we'll finalize our budget meeting for the day. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, with budget meetings just wrapping up, we're going to take just a quick 5-minute break and then we will get started with our regular meeting.
I'm ready to go.